Scary Greentext Stories, Personal Edition. Post your own creepy experiences. I'll post a few of my personal stories, starting with my most recent. Be me, about a year ago, living in a small apartment that used to be the attic of an old house. In my bedroom/living room, there was a window, pick related, but that's not the one I'm talking about. Was barely getting by, and usually only ate once a day. Started having trouble sleeping. For some reason, my attention was always directed at the window whenever I lay in bed. There was no curtain, so it was just a view into the darkness of the night. I start having weird dreams/nightmares every night about nonsensical things. One night I am suddenly awoken by the sound of tapping at my window. I nearly shit myself and turned to look for whatever it was. There was nothing there. The tapping was just too deliberate and loud to be simply rain or something like that. This happens every night for about 2 weeks. At the end of the second week, I'm sleep deprived and paranoid. I tried to record the window, but my phone always runs out of disk space before anything happened. Always happened between 1 and 3 AM, give or take 30 minutes. The last night that it happened, I suddenly woke up to find myself sitting on my bed, but the bed was placed in the middle of a forest at night. Obviously a dream, but it felt real at the moment. The only source of light is a small oil lamp placed to the right of the bed. Feel a chill run down my spine as I notice something else. Something is sitting next to the oil lamp and staring directly at me. It was only a few feet tall, but it radiated a numbingly terrifying presence. The flame started flickering as if it was about to go out. The thing starts talking.
Your flame in the sky. What will you do when you're alone in the darkness with me?
Getting goosebumps just thinking about it. About a second goes by and then the flame goes out. I'm immediately awoken by violent banging on my window. I turn to see a dark shape move swiftly away from the window. Moved back in with my parents after that. Hasn't happened since. The next story happened a few years ago when I lived in Africa. Be Africa. Be a fucked continent, soaked in negative energy, dark magic, and witchcraft and whatnot. By the way, yes, witchcraft is real, and it is abundant in the native villages. I've seen some shit. Anyway, I lived in a house on the outskirts of Ndola, Zambia. Property was surrounded by a 12-feet concrete wall with barbed wire on top. Still didn't deter thieves. We had about 3 break-ins before we decided to buy a guard dog. She was a bad motherfucker, part Doberman and part Rottweiler, only loyal to us and extremely hostile against other people. Every night she would patrol around the house and bark violently, even if nothing was there. That way she deterred anyone who might have gotten any bright ideas. To sum up, she wasn't scared of anything and would attack anything and anyone who wasn't part of my family. So when I woke one night to hear her whimper, I knew something was up. Continued, because it's perfect natural cliffhanger. I got out of bed and went to the living room. There was a window to the front lawn where her doghouse was. I could see the faint shape of a dog standing a few feet from the window. Too dark to see properly, but I opened the window and start talking to her to calm her down. Hear someone calling my name in my native language, Danish by the way. It came from outside, but I couldn't see anyone from my family out there. Then I hear the whimpering again. Look down and see the guard dog curled up beneath the window. I start shitting bricks as I gaze at the faint shape that I was looking at earlier. I fumble for the light switch so that I can illuminate whatever the fuck is standing there. Finally turn on the light. It was definitely shaped like a dog on all fours and shit, but its eyes were undeniably human looking. It's showing its teeth, but it looked like a fucked up attempt at a smile. Its teeth were also akin to human teeth, no canines. I once again hear my name being called and realise it's coming from that mangy fucker. Then it simply backed up into the darkness that slowly dissipated into the shadows. Guard dog was unharmed, but definitely spicked. I never looked out of the windows at night after that. I think the problem is that you're Danish. You may be right, but at least I'm not Swedish. Another story from Africa incoming. Be me. New to the neighbourhood and decides to go for a walk. Everything is run down and badly constructed, but it had a certain charm to it that doesn't exist in Western countries. Came across a huge fucking tree that was fenced in. Asked one of the locals why it's fenced in. They say something along the lines of, the tree is cursed, it is filled with evil spirits and demons. Don't believe them. This was before the dog incident. Notice a small plaque attached to the fence and decide to read what it says. It tells a weird story of a group of children finding a hole in the tree and climbing in to find that the entire trunk was hollow. The hole supposedly closed up while the children were inside, leaving them to pound at the tree from the inside, screaming for help until they died. Thought it was probably some fucked up native tale and continued on my walk. That night, a violent thunderstorm rolled in. If you've lived in Africa, you know exactly the kind I'm talking about. The next day, I'm out walking the dog when I once again pass the tree area, except the tree is gone. It had been completely obliterated by lightning, covering the ground in wooden shrapnel. The thing is, it was in the middle of a small area surrounded by large buildings, far taller than it was. The lightning shouldn't have hit the tree since it wasn't the tallest point in the area. The way the debris was scattered made it look like the tree had simply exploded rather than be struck by lightning. Dog didn't want to go anywhere near Ground Zero, and neither did I. Hear from my dad a few days later that they'd found bones in the bottom of the former trunk. Turns out it really was hollow. This story takes place before we moved to Africa. Be me. Move into an old house from the 1700s with family. Not a big house, but still pretty spacey. It was very nice and had an old, cozy quality to it. At least I thought so at first. As time passed, I became increasingly aware of this weird presence in the house. You'd often see something out of the corner of your eye or something walk by the window at inhuman speeds. I shared a room with my sister. My brother shared a room with my older sister. Their room was fucking terrifying. It's hard to explain, but I had trouble breathing when I entered it, and I felt very uneasy. Just thinking about it gives me the creeps. One of the corners of the room especially freaked me out. There hung a large piece of black cloth which separated the room from a small nook. That had no ceiling, meaning it went directly to the attic. There was also a cardboard box filled with weird shit like a skull made out of brass or something which had been left by the previous owners. When my dad found the box, he immediately tossed it into the trash. What a waste. Anyway, my brother and sister had a lot of very weird experiences there at night. Waking up to footsteps coming from the attic and other shit. Parents didn't take them seriously. One night, my sister wakes up and hears something scuttling across the floor towards her bed. She closes her eyes in fear and doesn't open them out of fear. She feels something small climb into her bed. She's crying at this point when she hears a voice whisper into her ear.
If you want to see a demon, open your eyes.
She lies motionless and cries profusely. Suddenly, the thing jumps off her and runs back to the corner as my parents come running. My brother had heard her crying and went to get them. They had a bunk bed and she was in the top bunk. My dad checked the attic the next day but found nothing. This experience still has my sister fucked up to this very day. I had two experiences in that house that really stuck with me. One night while I was asleep, I woke up to feel my duvet slowly being pulled off of me. I watched on in bewilderment and horror as some unseen force slowly dragged it across the floor to the other end of the room. I remember feeling gusts of air and hearing what sounded like a hurricane inside my room. My sister, the one whom I shared a room with, was sound asleep and didn't seem to notice anything. I tried to stay calm, but completely lost it when the shadows seemed to start forming vaguely human shapes as they advanced towards my bed. I started screaming and crying. My parents heard, their room being next to mine, and came storming in. As soon as they turned on the light, everything went back to normal. The hurricane sounds were gone and there were no shadow people. My sister woke up and was very confused. Parents told me that I had a bad dream or something. At first I found some comfort in that thought, but then I realised my duvet was still lying on the other side of the room. It looked as if it had been dragged, not like it had been thrown. Sleep in my parents' room for a few nights. My last contribution before I go to bed, might post more tomorrow if y'all can keep this thread alive until then. One day alone in Spoopy house. Have a friend over because I don't feel safe when I'm alone. Show him around the place. He doesn't seem to pick up on anything supernatural. Show him this little storage shed we have in the backyard. Same old furniture from the previous owner and shit like that. Large wooden closet, kinda the same as the one from Narnia but modern, stands out to us. For some reason we both feel drawn to it. Like the dumbasses we are, we open it up and step inside whilst making goofy Narnia jokes. He closes the doors and makes those spoopy ooh sounds. Both laugh. The inside of the closet is slightly illuminated because of a small gap between the doors. As we goof off, I notice something that makes me shit my spine out of terror. Above my friend's left shoulder is a face. My friend notices my expression and starts panicking. He tries to open the doors, but they won't budge, even though there was nothing on the other side to block them. All the while, this face just stays still and looks at me. The doors suddenly give way and we bolt the fuck out of there. Never visited me again. Old story, but it's the only paranormal experience I remember. Parents recount some strange shit when I was very young though. B14, 15, Christmas Eve. It's late, I'm up playing video or working on some shit. Comfy and tired, but don't want to get into bed yet. Comfy Christmas pepe.png. Need that sweet caffeine. Decide to make like Forrest Gump and obtain Dr. Pepper. Silently operate down hallway, careful not to wake family. Hallway opens to an indoor balcony overlooking the living room, which is dominated by a Christmas tree and big picture windows. Moonless light looms thick and impenetrable on the far side of the glass. Dark AF inside except for the light of the tree, which casts the room in dim shades of stained glass and fine muted shadows. Against the far wall, an old stereo cabinet sits, and atop it an heirloom music box that plays Little Drummer Boy. 90 to 100 years old or something, dunno. Not very spoopy, it's in great condition for its age, and despite the music box connotation, the tune it plays is just too nice to be eerie. It sits out somewhere every Christmas to this day, and had every year before then, have only positive, comfy associations. Everything is in its right place. I steal down the stairs, my glorious 23 flavours drawing ever nearer. Only something's up. I freeze mid-step. Adrenaline seeps into my blood. The music box is playing. Not just a little either, but strongly, and from a full wind. Early in the song too. Tactically shit holiday gift-wrapped bricks. Nobody has been up for hours and it rarely gets wound anyway. Certainly no way it's been going the whole time. Can't decide if I should be terrified or having some profound religious experience. Steel myself for haunting by 3 chrono ghosts who will presumably instruct me on the health effects of staying up too late all the time and approach the music box. Pick it up, stare dumbfounded at the key as it goes round and round in the bottom, just as fast as it should have from a full wind. My face wan. Can't make myself put it down, though half of me is in full fight or flight mode. It's Little Drummer Boy on Christmas, surely it can't be anything bad. Come on, that's some magical spirit of Christmas shit. Still anxious AF, but don't want to seem ungrateful if it is some X-tier benevolent shit. Muster what little breath I have and look over to the Christmas tree in the darkness behind it. Sup, Jesus? Managed to sound pretty cool and composed. Thanks for helping people and stuff. Happy birthday. Set music box back down. Feel the warm, safe light from my room upstairs beckoning me. I've played along with the holiday magic, it's all good. I can obey the urge to 360 and walk real fast out, but I've come too far for that. No man left behind.wav. Power walk over to the fridge, retrieve Dr. Pepper, sprint the fuck upstairs, shut the door and return to Vidya, pretending as hard as I can that didn't just happen. My face went. And that's how I got spooked by Jesus, dropping by to show my never really believed in Santa-ass self a little Christmas magic. Supposedly some of the shit that happened when I was young was on par, but I haven't really experienced anything quite like it since.